Welcome to the Unresolved Crime. I am your host, the Archivist, and this is where we open the case, turn the page, and dive into the darkness of history's most compelling unsolved mysteries. Welcome to the chilling case of the Black Dahlia. On a quiet, chilly morning in January 1947, a young mother walking with her 3-year-old daughter in a vacant lot in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, made a discovery that would haunt a city for generations. What she first thought was a mannequin was actually the bisected, mutilated body of a young woman. The crime scene was impossibly clean, with no blood on the ground. It was an act of brutal, theatrical horror that shocked the world and created a mystery that, nearly 8 decades later, remains unsolved. Her name was Elizabeth Short, but the press would soon give her a new macabre identity, the Black Dahlia. Born in Boston in 1924, Elizabeth's early life was marked by instability. Her father's supposed suicide at age 5, her struggles with asthma, and a contentious reunion with her father in California all painted a picture of a young woman searching for a new start. She had aspirations of being an actress, but never landed a role. In her final months in Los Angeles, she worked as a waitress, living a transient life and dating servicemen. She was a person, not a symbol. Her story is one of a life cut tragically short. The LAPD's response was unprecedented. A force of 750 investigators was deployed, led by the experienced Detective Sergeant Harry Hansen and his partner, Finis Brown. A massive reward was offered, but from the beginning, the investigation was a chaotic circus. The crime scene, an empty lot in the Leimert Park neighborhood, was quickly compromised by a horde of reporters and onlookers who walked right through potential evidence. This initial error set a disastrous precedent for the entire investigation. The media sensationalized every detail, even inventing lurid stories, and forever coining the name Black Dahlia as wordplay on the 1946 film The Blue Dahlia. Reporters from newspapers like the Los Angeles Examiner often arrived before the police and even engaged in unethical practices like withholding information and offering to pay for a victim's family to travel to Los Angeles to keep an exclusive. Letters and souvenirs from a person claiming to be the killer only complicated matters. Crucially, the killer had wiped the body and evidence clean with gasoline, destroying any hope of forensic leads. The LAPD's investigation was a product of its time, ultimately bogged down by a lack of coordination and a flood of false confessions, more than 500 over the decades. Despite the overwhelming challenges, a number of primary suspects emerged from the initial investigation. First, Robert "Red" Manley, the last person known to have seen Elizabeth alive. He dropped her off at the Biltmore Hotel, but a solid alibi placing him in San Francisco and a past polygraph test ultimately cleared him. Next, Mark Hansen, a wealthy nightclub owner whose address book was among the items sent to the newspapers. He had a personal connection to Elizabeth, who had stayed at his house on at least 2 occasions, and he was reportedly obsessed with her, but he lacked the medical expertise the killer seemed to possess. Finally, and perhaps most compellingly, we have the case against Dr. George Hodel. A physician specializing in sexually transmitted diseases, Hodel possessed the surgical skills necessary to perform the precise mutilation seen on Elizabeth's body. He became a primary suspect after a wiretap was placed on his home in 1949, where police allegedly recorded him saying, "Supposin' I did kill the Black Dahlia." They couldn't prove it now. His son, a retired LAPD detective named Steve Hodel, would later make a highly compelling case against his own father. Steve Hodel claimed his father's handwriting matched letters sent to the police, and he even found photographs of a woman resembling Elizabeth Short among his father's belongings. The case against George Hodel is heavily circumstantial, but the wiretap statements and the alleged evidence found by his son have made him one of the most talked about suspects in history. We must also consider Dr. Walter Bayley, a surgeon suffering from a brain lesion that had significantly altered his personality. His office was just blocks from where Short was last seen, and his wife's home was a single block from the murder scene. Expert analysis from former LA Times editor Larry Harnish suggests that Bayley's medical capability and geographical connections make him a highly credible suspect. Even decades later, the case continues to generate new theories and amateur investigations. Many modern-day true crime enthusiasts have latched onto the George Hodel theory, driven by his son's books and a renewed interest in the wiretap recordings. Meanwhile, the Dr. Walter Bayley theory, supported by some of the most respected experts on the case, offers a strong alternative based on circumstantial evidence that holds up even today. Unfortunately, modern attempts to perform DNA testing on existing evidence have been largely unsuccessful. The LAPD has been hesitant to test potential DNA, and the original materials are either lost or too degraded to yield a result. The case remains a testament to the limitations of 1940s forensics, where crucial evidence was lost before its potential could ever be realized. The Black Dahlia case wasn't just a murder, it was a cultural phenomenon. It revolutionized true crime reporting, establishing the trend of sensationalism and victim naming that continues today. It also influenced the golden age of film noir, providing a real-life canvas for its themes of urban corruption and post-war anxiety. The case became a cautionary tale for women flocking to Hollywood, and even led to California creating the country's first sex offender registry. Elizabeth Short's death transcended its reality, becoming a part of Los Angeles folklore and an enduring symbol of a dark and unresolved mystery. The Black Dahlia murder is a case that refuses to die. While the LAPD officially closed it decades ago, the public's fascination with Elizabeth Short's story only grows. We may never know who was responsible for this heinous crime. But what's your theory? Who do you think killed Elizabeth Short? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Unresolved Crime for more deep dives into history's most baffling mysteries.